She has to keep going, meeting EU officials, making speeches. Not despite the fact that she believes that her husband, Alexei Navalny, was murdered by Vladimir Putin, but because that's Yulia Navalnaya's purpose now, the force that drives her on.
Убив Алексея, Путин убил половину меня, половину моего сердца и половину моей души. Но у меня осталась вторая половина, и она подсказывает мне, что я не имею права сдаваться.
EU foreign ministers were keen to show support.
Every time an opposition member is killed in Russia, Europe had sanction packages. Now, I mean, it's the very least that we could do, and then demand of release of his body.
In Salekard, inside the Arctic Circle, Navalny's mother and his lawyer were filmed entering the investigative committee office, where they've reportedly been told it will take another 14 days to investigate the cause of Navalny's death.
The forensic medical investigation is not over yet. The exact cause of the death was not yet disclosed, while our Western colleagues rushed to claim, 15 minutes after it happened, after the news were published, that this was the responsibility of the Putin's regime, etc., etc.
Yesterday, President Putin was shown talking of how European sanctions haven't curbed Russia's gas exports. He knows that the Europeans are arguing about whether they can legally seize Russia's frozen assets. His biggest political enemy is dead, and there's good news from Ukraine. Russian demining crews have moved into the ruined town of Avdiivka after driving Ukrainian forces out on Friday. It's the first major victory Russia has had in 9 months and has great symbolic, if not strategic, importance. Today, the Ukrainian president visited frontline troops near Kupiansk, which is expected to be Russia's next target. The soldiers aren't just talking about points on a map, but shortages of ammunition and weapons, without which, President Zelensky told Western leaders at the weekend, Ukraine will lose this war, leaving Putin free to threaten NATO countries as he continues to crush all opposition at home. In her video address, which included pictures of a life lived together under the shadow of state violence, Yulia Navalnaya said she was still dreaming, as her husband had done, of a free, peaceful, happy, beautiful Russia.
Продолжать бороться за нашу с вами страну, и я призываю вас стать рядом со мной, разделить не только горе и бесконечную боль, которая окутала нас и не отпускает. Я прошу вас разделить со мной ярость.
Concrete and barbed wire and carnations. Braving arrest, some Russians in St. Petersburg have created a memorial to Alexei Navalny, the only person, many believe, who could effectively challenge Putin. And as quickly as the flowers were laid, the forces of the state crushed them into rubbish bags and took them away.
Well, I've been speaking to the Estonian Foreign Minister, Margus Tsahkna, and I started by asking him to what extent the death of Alexei Navalny has intensified the need for international action against Russia.
Killing Navalny, it is nothing new for Putin, but we have to name it correctly. Putin is a murderer. And this is very clear that there are two messages. One is, of course, for Russian people, even if you're thinking about fighting for the freedom or democracy, you will be dead. And the second message is, of course, to international community. And I think that it wasn't just an occasion or just it doesn't happen that Navalny died at the same day when all the three world leaders came together in Munich conference. So the message was that I can do whatever. And the clear message back should be not to rename any kind of funds or thinking that now we have to sanction somebody. It is a good thing to do. But we just have to support Ukraine, military ways, financially, politically, because Ukraine is fighting instead of us for these values.
But what does that mean in practical terms? I mean, are you talking about a step change in military support for Ukraine, or just more of the same?
We have to deliver what we have promised. We have promised a year ago 1 million round of ammunition. It was one of Estonian initiative, and we haven't done it. We haven't done maybe half of that. So, and at the same time, we see what is going on the battlefield. So we don't have to increase our military presence, but we just have to fulfill our promises.
How worried are you at the prospect of Donald Trump becoming president again?
I was defense minister of Estonia 2016-17 when Trump became first-time president. And his vocabulary was really strong at this time as well. And but he has something truthful inside the talks, because, to be honest, not all NATO allies, especially from Europe, are not putting 2% in what actually has been promised. And it is not understandable for me right now if the Russia is committing the real aggression in Europe, the war, the genocide. So there is no excuse not to fulfill this promise. But the other way around, NATO, I think it's a solid organization. It is committed organization based on Article 5. So I really do hope that President Trump is strong with the words, but also we be committed to the NATO ally duties.
But how certain do you feel that if Russia were to invade Estonia, that you would be defended by your allies?
I tell you a story, and these are the facts. That 2017, we saw the other side of the border of Baltic states, 120,000 troops ready to go within 24 hours or 48 hours. It depended, the command from Kremlin. But nobody believed that this command will come, and happily it didn't. This time now, we don't see these kind of troops the other side of the border, because those troops literally are gone. They have sent to Ukraine, and they are not existing anymore. So that's why I'm saying you as well, that Ukraine is not only not fighting for us as a values, but also instead of us. That's the reason why we Estonians and also all the Baltics, we are putting so much in to support Ukraine, because this is the most efficient way to push Russia back to Russia, and also take any kind of understanding for the future to have a new aggression or the NATO test. So if you ask me that Russia will attack Estonia, then Russia will attack NATO, Russia will attack Europe, Russia will attack everything what we are. So this is not only the Estonian concern, this is our common thing. But we are not worried, because we have been living there, I don't know how many years, and only bad things are coming from East. We are ready for that.
Mr. Sakna, Minister, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.